Hi, I'm James at Bespoke and welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new series called Bringing It Home. In this series I bring products home with me for me to review and go over in the most unbiased way I can. And it better gives you the representation of what you'll be feeling when you bring these products home with you, say if you've bought them on the website and delivered, and what you can expect to see. Really exciting one for the first episode. We've got the new KWA Ronin TK45 models, this one being the short compact one here. And then we've obviously got the longer variant here. So we're going to get to reviewing these products and going over the main features and things you can expect to enjoy once you've purchased this from us. So we'll be with you in just a moment. So KWA is a brand well known for producing some of the most sturdy AEG rifles out there on the market. They used to do the Defender series for ASG, and what you can expect from these straight out of the box is they're just absolutely rock solid. There's no flex in the receivers at all, there's very minimal flex in the magazines and everything like that. Nothing really rattles. So you've got this little KWA tag on here which is obviously going to make some noise. And this being the new Ronin TK45. As you can see, it's very reminiscent of a Vector on the front there, and this is a new model. You've got other rifles in this range like the G&G ARP9, the Classic Army X9, the recently released Ares M45, which is very good, which we've covered a little bit, and this is the KWA release. And I was extremely excited for this release, mainly because KWA like to put these little bits and pieces, these little nuggets of features, golden nuggets of features in there for you. And they've done two models. Now you might just think there's a short and a long version, one comes with an M4 stock and one comes with a sliding stock, but you'd be mistaken. There are actually very big differences between the two. So first of all, we'll look at the compact version. Now both these models have full metal bodies, upper and lower receivers, with the exception of this front handguard here, the part that's most reminiscent to the Vector being polymer. You've got a metal rail, a metal barrel, and then you've got this weird resin fibre style flash hider, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So moving back, we have got some more plastic components on the stock here, which is the end piece and the main piece which screws onto the body. Of course, the rods here that you see for the stock will be full metal as well. The stock has three positions. You have all the way down, you have the first notch which brings it there, and then the last notch which brings it there. And you can of course press that and remove the stock fully. In the stock, it's very similar to like the ARP9s, M45s and such. I'd probably say it's closest to the Honey Badger series with this style of cap on the back, but you can pull that off there. And there are many people that have complained about the battery space, but going to like a pistol caliber M4 style rifle, I've got to say this has probably got the most amount of space that I've seen. Even to the point where we're grabbing like a big 11.1 2200 milliamp battery, and it's almost, I mean I haven't folded the wires and stuff in there, but it's almost going all the way in. AirTech Studios do a part for this where you can extend the stock, so if you want to put bigger batteries in there, but there's plenty more options for you in terms of battery compared to other brands on the market. And you can literally just pop the stock back in there. You have to have the button pressed for it to slide forward. Like I say, you've got three settings, main, forward, middle, and then all the way out as well. You'll find these rifles are fully ambidextrous. You've got a fully ambidextrous selector lever, mag release, and of course bolt release as well. You've also got levers on the bolt handle, so it can be function from both sides as well, but when you pull one it pulls the other anyway, so you can pull that back. Opens a dust cover. So you can actually lock this dust cover to the rear by pulling this back and then pressing up on one of the bolt catches. And probably the only main thing that I don't like about these two rifles is the bolt catch is about as anticlimactic as the new Star Wars films. It is just absolutely cringeworthy when you press it, and I'll just demonstrate that for you now. It's such an awful sound. Everyone that you show it to, and you're like, hang on a minute, just listen to this. And you'll kind of shrug because it's really not satisfying at all. but at least you can lock it to the rear because you've got a rotary style hop unit in there, and it's very easy to adjust. And then of course you want to stop debris and stuff getting there when you're gaming, so you just knock that forward and it'll go forward for you, and then of course you can close that as well. So like I said, you've got a full metal upper receiver and lower receiver, ambidextrous controls throughout. Mag release can be functioned from both sides. I believe these are 120 round mid-cap magazines. Very well made. I like the fact that they've put an extended bumper on the bottom here, and I also like the fact that this isn't as big as the Vector bumper, because that thing is just ridiculous and it really hinders your ability to go and find mag pouches, because the top section of course is really easy to get in, but if you want to push it in a little bit further, that extended section on the bottom is so wide it just makes it a little bit more difficult. But these are nice and slim even with a bumper on the bottom, but it's nice because it gives you that extra bit of purchase on the magazine to be pulling it out and pushing it back into the rifle. You've got an extended follower on these magazines as well, so what you'll find is when firing these magazines, no extra BBs drop out of the mag well, every BB feeds, so you've got no wasted ammo whatsoever. It's a nice feature, little subtle feature, but it's got to be mentioned. It's just absolute no-brainer these days. I think all companies should be doing this, especially with mid-cap magazines. So pop that into there, it goes in there nice and easy. A nice positive click that's only found on some rifles nowadays, and it's not going anywhere, it's in there nice and firmly. As I said before, the front section here of the lower receiver is polymer, and you've got this extended piece here which goes into the lower grip, and this to me looks very similar to the PTS style grips. I think it is a PTS one, and you will find many PTS bits and pieces out on these two models. But the fact that they've extended this and give you like a nice handguard here, love that feature. Gives it a little bit more about the rifle than just having this open here. And the great thing about this is how low profile it is, but we'll get to that in later on in the video. Your normal standard sort of curved trigger here. Like I said, you've got single shot and full auto. Moving from, to the front of the rifle, you've got a key mod style rail system here. I believe this is a 6-inch key mod rail system, very sturdy, no flexing it whatsoever, nothing's rattling whatsoever either. You've got a nice metal barrel there with a 14mm counterclockwise thread. As well as that, I think what a lot of brands do bad out of the box are the iron sights. Iron sights are a big pet peeve of mine, that you get them and they're really grizzly and they don't click up properly, or they'll be wobbly, and the polymers aren't great. PTS sights on here, out of the box, straight away, you haven't got to go spend any extra money. And these sights are rock solid. For polymer sights, I'm going to go as far to say these are the best polymer iron sights I have seen on an airsoft product, both out the box and as a spare part. Even the Magpul sights, unless you go into sort of like the real still versions of those sights, they tend to be a little bit janky and a little bit rough around the edges. But these are absolutely perfect. You've got a dual aperture sight, so you can pop it up and down for fine adjustment. They're really easy to adjust with the wheels on the back and the front sight, left to right, up and down. Really easy and simple to use. You've got a 20mm rail going from back to front, and they've actually put these little pocketed rail sections in here. I don't know what that's for. Obviously on a real rifle on the handguard, I imagine it would be to dissipate heat, but these aren't all the way through on the top here on the receiver. They're just little pockets. Why they've done that for, I do not know, but it's a nice little feature. It gives a little bit of a special feel. With this 6-inch handguard, it's so extremely comfortable. You do get 2 rail sections included in the box as well, and you've got a 20mm section here at the front here. Now to me, this is a little bit too far forward for something like a grip or something, because you're so close to the muzzle. You run the risk of your hands being in front of the muzzle and you're shooting yourself in the hand. It's not going to be very nice. But I imagine they've done that because basically if you had a 20mm rail section all the way along the bottom, you're not going to find it very comfortable. But what I can say with these, once the stock's extended, this is extremely comfortable. The purchase you can get on this, literally straight out of the box, no hand grips, no foregrips, nothing like that. It's absolutely spectacular. It's so comfy. The iron sights complement it really well. These did come in to us at Bespoke with orange tips, but they did send us some black tips as well. What I found when changing out these black tips, I mean, we will do this ahead of beforehand if we can do. Obviously we do get very busy shipping out orders, but we'll get these switched out already, because what I found with this, it's like some kind of polymer or like machining plastic. It's very weird. I'd go as far to say it's like acetal or Delrin, but even then it's like it's a very funny texture to it. But all I did was run a 14mm counterclockwise tap through it, because when I tried to put it on the threads, it was really, really tight. but we'll probably end up doing this before it's shipped out to you anyway. So that's the overview of the compact. Of course, the main feature of this over the long version is you've got that variable velocity adjustment, and basically it comes with an Allen key with a blue handle in the box, and what you do is you take your stock off, you can take it off here, remove the cap here, and you can put the tool in the back and you can fine tune your FPS. So I believe they say out the box somewhere between 330, 340 all the way up to 380, so you can fine tune it for your sight. Does that leave a little bit of an exploit? Yes, but in the hands of your regular airsofter that's there, they're being safe on the field, it's great, because let's face it, some sites you go to have different rules. I suppose it's much bigger in the US compared to the UK here, but let's say a site allows me 350 FPS, I can just set it just under about 340, 345, great days gaming. I go to a CQB place, because let's face it, this thing is going to be built for CQB, and I can tune that straight down. I can go down to 330 if I want to, because normally CQB sites normally run around a joule. Obviously the FPS is going to calm down a little bit once it's been fired, once you put a few thousand rounds through it, so it's going to settle down nicely. But I'll pop this to one side and we're going to take a look at the longer version. So the shorter version, like I said, has that variable velocity system where you can tune your FPS up and down. On the longer version, for the most part, you can see all the same features, like in regards to the receiver, the iron sights. You've got a longer rail on here, I believe this is about 11-inch rail. It's the same sturdy construction. It doesn't flex at all, and I think more companies need to get onto this. And I could put all the top brands in that bracket. They need to be getting on with this, where you literally pick it up, it just does not flex. There's no playing it whatsoever, and it just oozes that essence of quality that you don't see in a lot of products nowadays, where you get it and you rattle the receiver. Even up to the expensive brands like Systema and even the GBLS DAS M4s, I've seen wobbly receivers, which you normally get those two-part pins to tighten it up. But you don't have to do this with these, because they're just out the box. And the old KWAs, the Defenders that they used to do for ASG, they were exactly the same. You pull everyone out the box and they would be solid in terms of receiver. It's absolutely what KWA do best, just in terms of build quality. It's absolutely second to none. But you've got, like I say, this 11-inch M-Lock style fore end here. Like I say, the short one's key mod. This is going to be M-Lock. It's going to change whether you're going to buy key mod or M-Lock style accessories. 11-inch rail here, a little bit longer. You've got that same profile where they've took the rail off the bottom here, so it's nice and comfy. It's a lot longer as well, obviously, so you can stretch your arm out further depending on what style of grip you have. But the main difference is where you'll see this is towards the rear. More PTS goodies on here. This stock by PTS is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the amount of battery space you can have in here, again, 11.1, 2200 milliamp. Let's pop the wires out the way here. And down both sides, you can fit this in. I'm even going to go as far to say that, I mean, I think there's a few people on YouTube that have covered these stocks and the batteries that can get in there. You could get another cell down the middle here, 3300 milliamp batteries. I don't think you have any problem even if you go into like 11.1 lipos. So that's great, because every battery you can think of is going to fit. However, the stock tube is hiding another great feature, because this longer version, just pop this back in here, this longer version of the TK45 is recoil, so you've got their ERG system in here, and you have to fire an ERG to appreciate it, and you'll see this in the Chrono Results coming up. When I was trying to get a rounds per second reading on the Chrono, what I found was I literally just, because I did the compact first, and as I did the longer version, firing it, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to jump around as much on full auto. I ended up clipping the inside of the Chrono with a round, and it was kind of like, whoa, that's got some kick, that has. I mean, let's face it, SF guns don't have a terrible amount of kick, but it's a nice feedback. I wouldn't call it recoil. It's more like if you're a gamer, if you're Xbox or PS4, and your gamepad vibrates, you know, you've got that rotary style motion with the weights that they have in games console controllers. It feels very reminiscent of that, but obviously to a much higher degree. But it's great for feedback. It gives you a nice shooting experience. Of course, those of you out there that love to put M4 stocks on everything, this is going to be the one you pick because it's got it on there already. So why they've done two different variants and two very different features, I don't know. I imagine because they need to fit the recoil system in the stock tube, so it was a no-brainer for this one. They can't do that with the compact version, so it's nice that they give you another feature that has some usability. There's no point giving you features nowadays, like a lot of companies still doing, electric blowback where the little dust cover moves and it does absolutely nothing for you. They're actually giving you a feature that you can make use of. So same PTS goodies throughout, PTS stock with QD points, you put the straps in there as well. You know, there's a little bit of wobble on the back there, but you're going to find that with any airsoft product anyway. And the same with the bolt catch, it's just as anticlimactic as the short one. I mean, it just, you kind of feel dirty doing that because it feels like it's something you're not meant to do. And you want to be doing behind closed doors, not out in public. But same rotary style hop unit in there. You know, you got a longer inner barrel. Now, what we actually found on the Chrono Results, which I'll post up in literally just a second, is that I was convinced that the longer recoil version of the TK45 was going to chrono higher than the compact, but it was actually reverse round. So the longer version came in at about 330-ish. It was more consistent than the compact, but again, it could be just because they're new out the box. What I did find on the compact version, because I was running it on this exact battery, I wanted to see what kind of rate of fire we can get on 11.1. We'll just see in the Chrono Results in just a second. The rate of fire was nice, it was nice and crisp. The first magazine that I put through the compact version of the gun, it had a little bit of a wobble, feeding the rounds up as quick as the gun could fire them. But what I presume to that, and I put it down to it just being a new gun, because literally once that was fired, I literally put another 100 rounds in this magazine, full auto, the whole mag, and it fed every single round to the last one with no problem whatsoever. So I reckon it was just new mag, new gun, straight out of the box, just a teething issue out of the box, and once it had 100 rounds through, it was perfectly fine. So the way I kind of look at products nowadays, away from the main bespoke sort of way we do things, is I try and find roles for this stuff. I'm a big fan of pistol caliber rifles at the moment. You know, you've got the Evos, you've got the M45s by Aries, you've got this, you've got LCT PP19s I run as well, MP7s, which if you're following the MP7 build guide, you'll know I've been trying to get that up and running. So I've kind of moved away from the larger caliber, what it would be in real steel, like M4s. Still got a couple of AKs. But I can honestly say I would find a role for both these rifles. I would probably pick the compact over the longer rifle, and that is literally just because I'm a massive fan of shorter compact rifles. I don't believe you have to have an insanely large inner barrel to get accuracy and range. A lot of my sniper rifles are running 290mm inner barrels, so really, really small, and I still get great results out of them. So barrel length to me, personally, in my opinion, means absolutely nothing. But from what I can see, these come with great components out of the box. A little bit higher QC than you're normally used to. But I would probably go for the C, and that's basically because I can use it in woodland, I can use it in CQB. The performance on these things, which we're going to do a little bit of an accuracy test later on in the video anyway, performance of these things is up there with the best of them. And the ability of, let's say you're doing a weekend event, let's say it allows vehicles. What I always find with larger rifles like M4s, I was running TM416s a couple of years ago, AKs, they tend to get in the way no matter how you look at it when you're getting into a vehicle, whether it be in a small vehicle, whether it be in a pickup. Especially when you've got rigs on, plate carriers, whatever you're using, it's not the easiest way to transport you having a rifle. But with this, and I've tried it honestly, and that's sad, the way it sits and the way the angle of the magazine is, you can sit with it there like that on a sling, and the rifle end, so where the flash hider is, doesn't even go past your left leg. So I could sit there, even with a chest rig on, it's going to sit a little bit further forward because I use compact rigs now, and you could easily get into a vehicle with this on a Milsim event or whatever and be so comfortable compared to everybody else. Yeah, it's not going to be as easy with this, it's probably going to sit a little bit higher, but even so, Still, because of the way the magazine isn't coming down and out like a conventional M4 or an AK, it's being swept back. But not only is it being swept back, I mean, you know, you could say, well, you've got ARP9s, you've got Nemesis X9s by Classic Army, you've got the M45 by Ares. You have, but you tend to have a more conventional style receiver in terms of it's one piece, it's metal, and the mag sticks out quite far. And it's quite in the same way as if you was carrying like a larger caliber rifle, like 5.56 mags and such. They've made this magazine so nice, and yeah, it's a long magazine, but the end bumper is so nice and compact that it doesn't really stick out very far, and it kind of follows the natural sort of direction of where the pistol grip and everything goes. So like I say, even with this, it sits there, and yes, many of you could argue that your average M4 is comfortable for you in a vehicle. I'm only going on what my experience is over the past 10, 11 years I've been airsofting. And I've never been comfortable in a vehicle unless I'm carrying something small or like a pistol or something if we're playing bad guys. But this really is compact, and even with the 11-inch rail, I reckon I'd still be comfy sitting in the front or the rear seat in any vehicle. But the reason why I go for the compact over the ERG is, like I say, because it's even more so. It's so much smaller. I mean, you could even sit with the muzzle through between your legs, and this isn't even coming up so far. I mean, CQB, you're going into a building or you're doing indoor, you're playing at an indoor field, you know, with the stock fully down, you wouldn't normally use a rifle like this because you're just going to be so over the top of the stock and the iron sights. But normally at those kind of distances, you're not really aiming anyway, you're kind of just pointing the barrel in the direction of what you want to hit, and you're going to shoot it. A lot of people will argue that that's not the case and you use your iron sights no matter what, but you know, at the end of the day, it's airsoft, it's not real steel, and if you're, you know, sort of less than 10 metres away from me, I can guarantee I'm going to hit you, and I'm not even going to look through my red dot on my iron sights. And like I say, it's nice and compact, you can really pull it in nice and tight, and yet the M45s do this really well too, as probably as well as the ARP9 and the Nemesis, but the M45 I think has a little bit better technology compared to the Classic Army and the G&G, but this, yes, it doesn't have MOSFETs like the M45 does, but it's super snappy. It's got their 2.5 gearbox, and I think that's what they call the 3 with ERG system. And then if you, let's say you're in a building, you're doing a weekend event, you're nice and compact, you're sweeping, you're clearing the building, and then you leave the building and you go on to everything else, so just quickly pull the stock out, your iron sights will be raised up, or you'll have an optic or a red dot or something like that, and it's literally as easy as that. You just press the button on the stock to go compact. You sweep your rooms, pull it out, and you're back to sort of full rifle length, but you're still not massively, you know, you're not using a massive rifle. I suppose those that use short rifles like I do mainly will understand that more than most, and I'm not putting this rifle down, I'm not putting the longer version down, because it still is a phenomenal rifle, and the ERG is just, you've got to shoot it and experience it to kind of get what I mean. Yeah, it's not throwing you around, but you'll see from the Chrono, because what I did was I panned out ever so slightly, just so you could see what it was like, and it was just bouncing around like that, and when you're trying to hold a muzzle into the front of the Chrono system, it just caught me off guard, that's all. But so I'll put the Chrono results up there now. We're just going to flick over to it. First is the compact, and second is the longer ERG model, and I'll just put those up on the screen for you now. So there you'll see that the compact hovered around about 350. Both of these rifles had no hop set whatsoever, so it's completely off. So you will get a bit of a lower result when you've set your hop to whatever rounds you're using. Compact was about 345 to 350, and the longer version, ERG version, was about 330, and you'll see from the results that the ERG was a little bit more consistent, but like I say, that could be varying factors, and the rate of fire out of these things is very nice, especially on 11.1. I mean, we don't always recommend running 11.1 on a lot of guns. 7.4 you're fine, but I think with these, with it being something like an SMG, I mean, you go look at real steel stuff, you go look at pistol caliber carbines that can fire full auto, they tend to have a high rate of fire, and they tend to have like quite a fast cyclical rate. So it just makes sense to me to having, like to put it into perspective, my AK-74 UMA LCT, I run that at a much slower rate of fire, but then I've got my LCT PP19, which is 9mm mags, which I'll run. Both guns I run 11.1 lipos. However, the PP19 is a little bit of faster rate of fire because of the gears that are in it. Just to signify it's an SMG, it's putting out a little bit faster rate of fire, but the magazines are obviously a lot less higher capacity that compared to the AK mags. And again, that's user preference, that is really what you want out of it. But these magazines as well, they're so easy to stack. If you've seen our Bigfoot D3 CRM, seen on our website, the Bigfoot D3 CRM chest rigs, that you can put the real inserts in. However, you can, if you take the plastic inserts out, you can get like 2 SMG mags, and these fit in it really, really nice. They're not as bulky as the Vector mags, and this is coming from someone that's owned a Vector. I had a Vector when they released. The Vector, I think, was just a little bit too bulky for me in terms of the way the mags were. It just made pouches a little bit more difficult, so I ended up moving that on. But I can honestly see myself using one of these, and I would use the compact. Again, nothing wrong with the ERG. Recoil's there, it's a really nice feature. It's so much more fun to shoot full auto compared to the compact. But I just think for me, in the type of events that I do, this just has a lot more use. I like to be nice and nimble. I like to be in and out of the fight and fast, usually with lightweight chest rigs now, where I'm going to be a little bit more cumbersome with the long version. So we'll just cut to the accuracy test. This is only at 10 meters, so it's the best I can do at home because we're bringing these things home. And we'll just do an accuracy test at 10 meters, and I'm sure you'll see in just a moment they actually perform really well. So we'll just cut to that right now. So you'll see that they didn't do too badly. 10 meters is an easy target anyway for these things, but what we're basically pushing for is just to show you the accuracy and the groupings at such range. And this is out of the box. The hops haven't been touched. This is literally, as I pull them out of the box, I'm just putting BBs in the magazine and firing it and just seeing what we're getting. And of course, when these things are took to the field, that's when you set your hop unit to the range and trajectory that you want, and then you put your 2.5s or your 2.8s in. So to wrap these things up, KWA have done really well with this. It's kind of a bit of a KWA sort of kind of sticking their fingers up at Crytek for the Vector, I feel, because they've gone for this design thing. But having owned a Vector and having played with the TK45, I can honestly say I would rather go for the TK45. And you probably think, why is that? The Vector is its own gearbox design. It's got, you know, the gears and the motor and everything in a different mechanism, its own housing that goes inside. The barrel and hop unit aren't as easy to get to compared to like your more conventional style M4s. The gearboxes in these that KWA build, they're just so well built. I'm sure there'll be some people out there that have had KWA products before in the past and had a bad experience, but I'm telling you now, that's not the case with all their products. It's times like these you really need a cameraman because I talked so in depth about both these rifles, and I've lost a load of footage. For some reason the camera stopped recording, so I'm just going to carry on. I think the last bit I said was you might have had some problems with KWA in the past in your personal experience, but it doesn't represent all their models. So yeah, I hope you've liked this different style of video. I wanted to do it on a much more personal experience where I've got my James Parker thinking hat on rather than bespoke Airsoft thinking cap, and I wanted to sort of do an unbiased overview of these rifles. I'm superbly pleased to the point where I'll say I'll go pick one up myself, and it's going to be the compact over the ERG just because of how nice and compact it is and easy to handle, perfect for CQB. I like my compact SMGs, as I've said before in the past. I hope that they follow on from Aries with all the accessories. I mean, Aries just nails it, just with the Striker series that they did with the Honey Badgers. Now with the M45, they release the rifle, they do multiple versions of the rifle, then you do your mags, you've got your short mags, you've got your long mags, you've got your drum mags, you've got your front ends, you've got your triggers, you've got your flash hiders. They just know how to sell and upsell a product to the consumer, because you can just go pick a rifle up and you can really kit it out in a unique way to make it yours. And I hope KWA follow up with this, because this is a superb platform. They've surpassed all my expectations with this, just to the build quality and everything like that. I like my rifles to be really sturdy, which is why I do use a lot of the LCT AKs, just because their build quality and their rigidity in their construction is just far superior to many others out there. But from what I can tell you with this, for the time that I've had with it since we've had them in, it's absolutely superb. We don't have many of these in on the first batch. I can guarantee they're going to sell out, and one of them is going to have my name on it, because these are just, I just love everything about it. I wish I could say that for every product, but this just has something a little bit different. It just, in my opinion, it just looks far better than all the SMG M4s out there. They really have put a nice touch onto these rifles. Great performing, good chrono results out of the box. You haven't got to massively mess with it. It's kind of set up, ready to go. You haven't got to go and upgrade the spring or such. The ERG is great. Would have been nice to have seen some empty mag detection on there like the other ERGs, but it's not a deal breaker. I can understand why they wouldn't do it and why they'd keep the manufacturing simple for the magazines, just because it's a new style platform. I hope they push on this. I hope they do much more. As you'll have seen from SHOT Show and IWA this year, a lot of companies are jumping on this SMG bandwagon. I'm probably going to say some of them are probably going to be a little bit late to the table, because a lot of users are going to probably have gone and bought one already. But I hope they do more. I hope they do long mags, short mags, curved mags like the MP5s. I really do. It's never been a better time to be in Airsoft, because there's so many models coming out for these things, as well as AKs and other platforms as well. This gets a big thumbs up from me, and that's an unbiased and honest opinion. I've had such good fun with these things. They're absolutely superb. The mags come in sets of 3, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a 120 round mid cap. It's not a stupid size. I love the ASG Evo to bits. I own one. I use it all the time. 75 rounds. Sometimes, you know, your milsim stuff events, it's more than enough rounds for you to use. But your average walk on days where everyone's running around with a high cap, you do have to carry a lot of mags, and you don't have a lot of ammo in them. And the high cap that ASG did for the Evo has got to be the ugliest magazine that I think I've ever seen. So I won't use them. I'll just use more of the big cap style, which I think is 75 rounds. So 120 rounds in these, perfect amount of ammo. PTS coming out with that new EPM mag for M4s as well, that holds 150 or even 200 rounds. Yet to see it. Hopefully it's good. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like this new style. I hope it portrays to you as the way that I wanted it to. I want you to feel a little bit more connected with how these things are being talked about and how they're pulled out of the box, because I haven't had any dealings with this before. And I want you to try and experience the feeling of getting these out of the box if you were to order it online from us. Of course, if you do order it online from us, I'm extremely thankful. Thanks for putting your order in. You're not going to be disappointed with these things. The only thing that I will say, again, from the bad bolt cap, which I don't like, is just make sure your motor adjustments are good out the box. If you don't know how to do that, just get it to a competent shop or Airsoft Tech, or just ask us to check it beforehand. It's a little bit difficult with the amount of orders that are going out now from our warehouse to check absolutely every rifle, but we do chrono everything. If they sound good, we'll send them out, of course. But if you've got a thinking cap on, you're good at teching and stuff like that, all I did was found with the C, it was just a little bit wound out too far. It was a little bit crunchy, so I wound it in. It's nice and smooth and the way it should be. perfect result from this rifle, extremely satisfied. Like I've said before, thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in just to see what this gun is like, and you've just stumbled across our video, thank you very much. Thumbs up and a subscribe helps us out a long way and pushes us to do more video content. If you haven't already, there's loads of good videos on our YouTube channel, loads of informational stuff, loads of guides and build stuff and everything, which you're going to be doing a lot more for, and we're going to be doing some giveaways soon too. We're going to probably look at some WE pistol new releases in the next Bringing It Home. But thanks for tuning in, extremely appreciated, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.